8 years, balanced budget. 4 years, I believe we're going to have a state clean audit. We've raised the credit score in the city of Youngstown. That had not happened in decades.
We need a deep commitment to reclaiming our identity, which will lead us to the industry that we're looking for, which will help begin solving all of the decade-old challenges that we've been having.
BusinessJournalDaily.com 3 Minutes With is brought to you by Farmers National Bank.
Save, borrow, and invest with Farmers. Take heart knowing you're helping create a strong community. Mind your money at Farmers. Talk directly to local decision makers about your loans, investments, and insurance. Farmers. Fiercely local, fiercely loyal.
I just want to start by asking each of you to give us your best arguments for leading Youngstown for the next 4 years.
I've been the mayor for the last 8 years. Over the last 8 years, when I came into the city of Youngstown, we were facing a fiscal deficit, crime was up, investment was down, and our neighborhoods were plagued with disinvestment. Over the last 8 years, I've had an opportunity to do several things. We'll just talk about the fiscal responsibility that we've been able to achieve. 8 years, balanced budget. 4 years, I believe we're going to have a state clean audit. We've raised the credit score in the city of Youngstown. That had not happened in decades. We took our annual revenue from $176 to $220 million. So we've grown the revenue, the budget over the last 8 years. What I like to see over the next 4 years, I like to make sure that we continue to make the community safe. This community, when I came in, crime was up. It's down now, 56% reduction in crime, 20% overall. And that's because we're investing in technology. We're investing in partnerships with our state and federal organizations. We are making sure that we're taking illegal guns off the street from irresponsible gun owners. We want to make sure that as we continue over these next 4 years, we want to increase and put actually a crime time data center together. We're investing in technology now where we have our avocados, we have our flock. But next thing we want to do is we want to move in and tap into the business owners who have cameras, that we can have real-time data from them, as well as citizens. We've been giving those door bail cameras to individuals and households. We want to connect all that together. Over the next 4 years, we want to continue to focus on investing over $25 million in housing. We want to say rehab, new homes, or new home ownership. In the next 4 years, we want to continue to focus. And the last thing we'll continue to focus on, I want to make sure that we have this aerospace and defense innovation hub that's working, that's coming. We want to make sure the next generation is ready. They need to be job training, job ready, so they can have job access to that innovation that's going there.
I believe that proper leadership for a city affects generational outcomes. And so what I mean by proper leadership is leadership that has a deep desire to have full transparency to its residents, a deeper accountability that goes beyond just the normal politics and mincing words about how projects have gone in our community, but an accountability that says, I will take responsibility when we fail, and I will take responsibility in joining you all when we have successes. And we will continue to try and try again, even in our failures, but we must be a leader that if we want to be called to leadership, then we want to be called to the carpet just as aggressively in how we lead a city. I want to be a leader that will step into our educational outcomes and champion citywide parental engagement, the attendance of our children. My wife being an educator of 20 years, we know we can't educate kids if they're not at school. Making sure we're utilizing every resource to the best of our ability within our community's infrastructure to address our kids being able to read on grade level. Making sure that we know that the district is combining, but it is a district that belongs to the city of Youngstown, and we should all take responsibility for that, not step away from it, but step deeply into it. And I use that word deeply because it's beyond just the norm and the surface level. We need to make sure that entrepreneurship becomes much more a part of our identity as we talk about reclaiming that. We need a deep commitment to reclaiming our identity, which will lead us to the industry that we're looking for, which will help begin solving all of the decade-old challenges that we've been having.
No, this is not a debate, it's a forum, so I trust that you will keep the answer to the next question civil. But what are the reasons that you believe your opponent should not occupy the office of mayor?
I'm standing here for the last 8 years. I've not just talked about doing the job, I've been doing the job. We listen, we learn, we're in the focus of action. I can't speak for anyone but myself. Lifelong resident of the city of Youngstown, born and raised here, educated here. I literally love this community, but I don't talk about love, I put them in action. I'm raising my family here. I have 4 amazing children. I'm married to the former Lynette Frost. Best thing I ever did, recall, was marry an East Side girl. Both I graduated from the Rand School. Any Tigers in the house? I got both my bachelor's and my master's degree from Youngstown State University. I'm not sitting here telling you what I'm going to do. When I came into this office, our identity was, that's Youngstown, don't go there. That's not what's happening right now. Over the last 8 years, as under my leadership, we've been added to the table. We've been at the governor's house, we've been at the White House, we've been put on special commissions, we've been involved in leadership across the state, across the nation. And that's not where we are now. People are talking, people are investing in the city of Youngstown like never before. Because my motto is, the city of Youngstown is open for business. You don't have to pay anybody, you have to owe anybody. If you want to do business in the city of Youngstown, you can do that. Our used to be story is not the same as it was then. As under my leadership, we've been putting in the work.
We've had the same mayor for the last 8 years. We've given opportunity to see the deep investments that we're looking for. And we're saying to our community of business owners downtown that their cry, that their call out is not worthy to be answered in the way that they're looking for. And so that tells me that we need a change in leadership. When we're talking to residents about investment within their neighborhood, we have 31 identified neighborhoods across the city of Youngstown, and we still hear that cry coming. And we've given 8 years. We've given an opportunity to do so. And so I believe that for the same reasons that I'm asking you to think about a real choice for real change in this community, it's not pie in the sky love that we're talking about. Love dawned my doorstep at 14 years old when my oldest brother was murdered in the city of Youngstown, because it would only be out of love that you could turn around and say at 14 years old, now standing before you more than 30 years later, that I didn't ask anything of this city, that I gave my entire life to this city up until this point. Even now, as I stand before you, audacious enough to run for mayor of the city of Youngstown, that love, not some pie in the sky kind of, touchy-feely, but we're talking about the action of building the Youngstown Flea, because I have a love for my residents, my hometown.
Mayor, the 2 issues that have cast a dark shadow over your 8-year tenure are the demolition of the historic Realty building following a natural gas explosion that claimed a life, and the chill plant debacle. How do you respond to critics who say that you mishandled both issues and therefore should not be reelected?
I call it East Side Industrial Park. That was prior to my administration. I can't say that I actually took the initiative when we realized that when we gave public money to a private entity and we didn't get our products, I'm the one who initiated to go to court to get that property back. So as it relates to the East Side Industrial Park, we took them to court, we got the property back, and now we're working to market it and put that back on so that we can put it back in a productive use. We know those 3 buildings are worth $2.1 million. One is already finished, and 2 of them need to be finished. So we're getting a commercial broker to market it and put it out there. So that's the first one, not under my administration, not my fault, but my responsibility. I take full responsibility for that. The second is the Realty Tower. And let me say, there's not one in here that had the darkest night than the mayor of the city of Youngstown. When that happened, that was one of the toughest times for me as the mayor. When you had to tell that mother who was in that was her child in that building. No one in here can experience that pain that I felt having to tell her. My prayers still go out to Akil Drake and his family, those that lost their prized possessions in the Realty Tower, and those who had to be moved in the International Tower. I think at the end of the day, safety was number one for the city of Youngstown. We moved in. Even NTSB said we did the best. They've never seen an operation like that before. But what people don't realize is that we didn't own the building. There was a private entity, an insurance company, who owned the building. The owner was not the city of Youngstown. The insurance company was not the city of Youngstown. But we stepped in because the safety and welfare of the community. And we walked through that process with the NTSB. We made sure that things were secured, and we did our part on that behalf.
As someone who has never served in city government or any other public office, how would you have dealt with the Realty building and the chill plant development?
We have to admit, and this is where accountability begins, we have to begin with a failed Smart 2 project that led to the construction on Federal Street that leads to Realty Tower's explosion. Had we been bold enough to tell the state that maybe an autonomous shuttle is not right for this current period in Youngstown's progression, we would have not been doing unnecessary road dieting, green infrastructure. We know that the original route for that Smart 2 project was not Federal Street. It was up Fifth Avenue. It was to take you to St. Elizabeth. It was taking you over to a chill can plant and back downtown. And so when that fell apart, you have no chill can plant. You have no CVS. So that autonomous shuttle spent time just looping around less than a mile radius and now sits unused months later. And so we begin there. The fact that we introduced city money after we began this road project, finding that there was an open vault in the road at the Realty Tower site, rather than keeping that within a certified contractor space, we introduced public dollars to the building owner. We had an ordinance that allowed them over $150,000 to try and address this vault themselves. And we should have had a process in place that follows that money. And when it comes to the chill can plant, from what I understand, the contract had benchmarks. And when those benchmarks weren't met, we should have had leverage and mechanisms in place. Year one, a building was supposed to be built and 30 jobs were supposed to have already created. When that did not occur, we already have a breach. And yet we allowed it to continue, and next year will mark 10 years of that chill can plant sitting there.
BusinessJournalDaily.com 3 Minutes With is brought to you by Farmers National Bank.
Save, borrow, and invest with Farmers. Take heart knowing you're helping create a strong community. Mind your money at Farmers. Talk directly to local decision makers about your loans, investments, and insurance. Farmers. Fiercely local, fiercely loyal.